And Frank DeSilva joins us on WQA Radio. Frank is the technical advisor at Resintech and also dean of Resintech University. Wow, Frank, that's a great title. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Wes.
You're also the president of the Pacific Water Quality Association, brand new president, so congratulations on that as well. And we want to talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that to begin with, and in the fact that as of this recording, late October, you just had your convention, and I understand it was a big success. So let's start there. First of all, again, congrats on the taking over as president and on the show. So tell us about the show. How did it go?
Well, I'll start out by saying that we increased attendance over last year by 50%.
Wow.
Which was so refreshing, so good to see. You know, we were coming off of COVID last year and still seeing the effects of that. And, the attendance wasn't so good. But this year it came back with a roar. The banquet hall was full. The exhibit hall was full. We had great attendance at all the classes. You know, to see a full classroom is a good thing.
Yes. And were there any highlights that you took away or things that you saw that inspired you?
Yeah, there's, at these regional WQA shows, we always have the underlying training of pretty basic stuff, softener installation, high TDS softening, how to deal with customers and that. But this year, as in other water shows, and of course at the National WQA show, PFAS was a big topic.
So, why am I not surprised, Frank?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the exhibitors had products and techniques for removing PFAS. There was a great presentation that was put on by Shannon Murphy and Richard Mest on PFAS yesterday, on Thursday afternoon. And it was very well attended, as you can imagine. Everybody wants to know how to treat PFAS, how to deal with the residuals, and so on. And it's, it is a brave new world when we talk about PFAS because there is no MCL yet. But if you were to ask a consumer how much PFAS is okay for them to have in their water, zero. So, and the PWQA member companies do have the ability to remove all of the PFAS from water. So PFAS was a big topic.
Yeah, and as I say, I kind of joke about it, why am I not surprised? But true enough, and we want to just, sneak in a quick plug for any WQA member listening. We do have our new PFAS portal that we've got on the website that you can go to and get a lot of good information, including some downloadable guides that'll help primarily the dealers talk with customers, because that's, half the battle, Frank, as you know, is just simply communication.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it can, when you talk about perfluoral alkylated substances, the consumer's eyes can glaze over. But if you talk about, the PFAS, it is a serious emerging contaminant. It's necessary to take it out of water.
Anything else that you recall as being among the highlights of the show, or was it just simply?
It's, so this is my second stint as president of the PWQA. When I announced my semi-retirement at the end of last year, Mike Mecca, who had also been president for 2 terms in the past, called me up and said, "Are you interested in getting back on the executive board?" And so, I have a little more time to devote to it, so I gladly accepted and, was voted in at the meeting this week. When I think back of what the environment was in 2010 here in the Western states, we were facing softener bans left and right. A lot of communities, a lot of municipal districts wanted to ban salt discharge from self-regenerating water softeners. So that was a real battle. We did a lot of work up in Sacramento to educate legislators and let them know that, the softener of yesterday is a lot different from the softener of today. Modern softeners are a lot more efficient. They use less salt. They regenerate, less often. So I went into a battleground in 2010, my first time around. But this time around, it's been wonderful because we offer a solution. Point of use, point of entry devices can be used to meet the MCL for many contaminants in water: arsenic, nitrate, chromate, perchlorate, PFAS. So we're having our legislative days in Sacramento, February 6th. And I hope a lot of members can join us there. It's always a very enlightening experience. We talk to regulators in the morning, and in the afternoon we actually visit the legislators' offices and staff. But this time we're going in with a solution. Many of the communities that are affected by these emerging contaminants, especially arsenic and nitrate, in rural areas in the West, they don't have the $20 million to build a centralized facility, staffed by people with white lab coats and clipboards. However, for several $100s, $1,000, we can install a point of use, point of entry device within days that will solve the problem, meet the MCL, and provide safe drinking water for the consumer.
Yeah, it's really a great story to tell. That's why we love to have you on the show talking about it, talking about what PWQA members are facing and seeing and sensing as opportunities. That's really, again, another big word here. It's opportunity. There's no question about it. What Frank, is it like in California these days? What are your members facing? Obviously, PFAS is a big thing.
I'm glad you asked that question because, PFAS contaminants and all that aside, the member companies are facing labor shortages like everyone else. Everyone is supremely busy. Everyone's very busy. Business is very good, but staffing the offices and getting installers and salespeople has been difficult. There's, a lot of people, a lot of the older guys are leaving. Here I am, semi-retired, and I'm glad that Resintech is allowing me to stay on in a somewhat limited capacity.
Frank, it means you're going from 60 hours a week down to 50.
That's right.
Exactly.
I am working a lot more than I had anticipated. Hopefully, I'll be able to adjust that after a month or so once I settle into to this role. But one of the things that the PWQA is emphasizing is basic training, like back to basics, because many of the people that are being brought on now are young and inexperienced. So what's important for us and what's important to them is that they get certified. They go through the WQA certification process to become water specialists, certified installers, and so on.
Well, that's fantastic, and a nice tie-in with the fact that we have branded October as Professional Certification Month at WQA, calling attention to it, making sure people are aware of the different levels of certification. And it's certainly a challenge. We know that, but boy, when you get that certification, a lot of new opportunities, there's that word again, will open up, I think,
that's
as
right,
well.
That's right. And it's just, it hits so many things on different levels. There's a sense of pride in the employee. There's a sense of confidence from the consumer. And for the company owner, he can have confidence in his workers. He knows that they've been trained to a certain standard.
Absolutely. Fewer callbacks, right? Fewer mistakes that have to be corrected. We've all probably seen that or had that experience. And things happen, of course.
Fewer leaks. Fewer leaks.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. Well, it's great to know that it's great to know that your members are busy, because many of your members are our members.
That's right.
Again, a plug in to anybody listening to Frank and member of the PWQA. We need you on board with WQA as well, the national. But it's great to know you're busy, but it is interesting. Does anybody have any answer to the labor issues?
No, in a word, no. It was talked about. It was talked about at one of the meetings, but yeah, I didn't see any end all solution. One of the things that I did in my invites to the exhibit hall, because we offer free invitations to the exhibits on the one day of exhibits, and I reached out to some of the local schools and also the local water districts and engineering companies, and we had some attendance from them.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, speaking of the national, I made my segue over there to WQA. We've got our convention in March this year, March 5, 6, 7. We're down in Orlando. I can imagine you're planning to go. I don't want to assume that, but tell me why convention's a big deal for you.
No, I will be there. I will be there. Looking very forward to it. So why is it important to? It's important to me personally because I get to network with with my peers and new customers and all the exhibitors. I always learn about equipment and breakthroughs in equipment when I'm at these shows. Even at the exhibit hall at PWQA, I was schooled in certain changes in hardware. That technology is doing more with less, and so I see that in some of the designs that are incorporated into water treatment equipment. But going to Orlando, the choice of educational opportunities, the offerings that are there are really important. Still, to me, at this advanced stage, at this advanced point in my career, I still want to learn more. And, there's no better opportunity than the national show because you have the most respected people in the industry presenting.
Yeah, and you've got the networking, as you mentioned. You've got the exhibits, the new technology, and you've got the education. So it's kind of a triple play. How about that?
Yeah, and let's not forget for a company like Resintech and all the other exhibitors, it helps build our business. One of the things that I kept returning to at the mid-year leadership conference was that in September?
Yes.
Which, by the way, was very well done. Got a lot out of it. But one of the points that I wanted to keep bringing back in those different meetings is that, hey, we got to remember our goal, that our member companies want to see a return on their investment. And if that return is additional business, that's a home run. And of course, it can be with the combination of certification and education and networking.
Yep, indeed it is. Well, Frank, any other final thoughts before we let you go?
Yes. I have a list of, let's call them promises as the new president of PWQA. I didn't have to run much of a campaign, but I still came up with a list of things that I wanted to accomplish. The PWQA is more than just California. It's Washington, Oregon, Hawaii, Alaska, Arizona, Nevada, Idaho. And I want to bring in more member companies from those areas. I want to make them aware of what we can do for them. The things that we do legislatively in California to protect our member companies' businesses and also promote them by getting point of use, point of entry accepted. So I'm reaching out to the OEMs and the dealers in those states. The other thing that I'm trying to do is have a joint effort with some of the other regional organizations. And the organizations that I'm talking about are the regional rural water associations, the state AWWA associations, the state and regional WFEA associations, and so on. Many of those associations deal with small communities that have to meet MCLs for the emerging contaminants. And PWQA, WQA, we have the solution. Point of entry, point of use is the solution because it's economical, it can be installed quickly, and it's part of my goal this year is to make sure they are all aware of that. During my career, I've spoken at some of their conferences, the California Groundwater Association, another one that we're going to be working very closely with. And I don't know how much they know about what they can accomplish by point of use, point of entry, because they can go down to communities of, I don't know, just to pick a number, 50 connections, 200 connections. They're certainly not going to have the capital to build a centralized water treatment facility. So again, we are the solution.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. Well said. Hey, Frank, great catching up with you. Again, congratulations on the show, on the new term as president, and being available to give us your thoughts and insights.
Thank you, Wes. Great to see you.
Frank DeSilva, Technical Advisor and Dean of Resintech University, joining us on WQA Radio.